Hey guys, it's Jan Shartay and I'm back again with another video. So today's video is going to be all about one of the biggest mistakes that online boutique owners and e-commerce brands are making, and it's all about your pricing. So if you are interested, stay tuned. Welcome to my channel where we talk about boutiques, e-commerce, business, and all things making money online. First and foremost, if you're new here, I'm Jan Shartay. I'm the owner of Brazen Boutique and the Boutique Academy. I've been in business for about 4 years. I've made just over $1 million since starting my online boutique, and I've coached over 7,000 men and women, mostly women, all over the world, and helped them to launch, grow, and scale their online boutiques and e-commerce brands as well. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, hopefully you go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already, and all that good stuff. So let's talk about pricing, y'all. I'm just gonna hop right into it and tell you that one of the biggest mistakes that you are making is thinking that everything should be priced the same. So what I mean by that is like everything is times 2 what you bought it for, times 3 of whatever you bought it for, times 4 of whatever you bought it for. Now, don't get me wrong, you may have seen a video on my page, let's say 3 or 4 years ago, where I talked about how my previous job priced their merchandise, but what I want you to know is that that is how they price their merchandise. Every brand should have their own unique pricing structure that they use to ensure that their business is making the profit that they want to make. So that was how my previous job priced their merchandise. Today we're going to talk about how I price my merchandise and what factors I'm taking into consideration when I'm choosing my pricing. Okay, so I want to quickly explain to you why you shouldn't price everything the same way. The easiest way that I can explain this to you is that every single product that you buy does not have the same cost. So that means that let's say that you buy a $10 product and a $15 product. If you are pricing everything at twice what you paid for it, that $10 product becomes $20 and that $15 product becomes $30. Let's say that you have 6 of each of those products. So those $20 items are going to be valued at $120 to your business. Those $30 items are going to be valued at $180 to your business. So as you can see, those 2 items are not going to equally contribute to your sales at the end of the day. Got it? So in one case, if you sell all that inventory, you make $120. In another case, you sell all that inventory, you make $180. So already off the bat, your pricing decisions are already impacting how much money you end up making. Now, I don't want you to think that I'm saying that you got to make sure that you make equal quantities of money or equal amounts of money from everything that you sell, because that's not going to be the case either. As a new business, you have to decide first and foremost, what do you want out of the situation? Because at the end of the day, your decisions are going to impact how easy or hard you make it on yourself to be able to continue to fund your business. So I always think back to when I first started my business. One of the mistakes that I made was making this announcement prior to my launching, and I would say that everything that I sell in my boutique is going to be less than $40. Like, I made this huge announcement. I wish I could find it. If I find it, I'll post it somewhere. But I made this announcement on my Facebook, and it basically just said like, hey, I'm launching this boutique, and we want to make sure that everything is affordable, and so we're going to make sure that everything is $40 or less. Very, very stupid. And why? That was because I wasn't considering the cost of that inventory, and I also wasn't considering how much money I wanted to make, how much money I wanted to profit, and how the money that I made was going to impact my ability to keep my business moving forward, how it was going to impact my cash flow. Let me just be honest, I didn't even know what cash flow meant at the time, So not to say that I went into it pricing everything the same way, but I did go into it with this, I had this desire to keep things affordable, what I thought to be affordable. But really what I should have been considering was, how much money did I want to make in a month's time? How much money did I want to make in a week's time? If I had taken the time to consider, if you sell this product for $20, it's going to take you selling 4 of them to make your money back. Versus if you sell this product for $40, it's going to take you selling 2 of them to make your money back. So I wasn't thinking about, again, being able to move my business forward. And as new business owners, as new boutique owners, we're often buying inventory in quantities that we can afford. One pack typically. And so if we are keeping our prices extremely low, let's say that it does take you having to sell 3 or 4 out of the 6 in the pack to be able to get another one, you're also hindering your sales, because if you have, I don't know, 27 people who want that product, but you only have 6, it's not that it's impossible for you to be able to serve that other portion of your audience. It's more so how easy or hard, how quick or how slow is it going to be for you to be able to get your hands on more of the inventory. So one thing that I want to kind of like circle around to and like help you to understand about this is that everybody's pricing is going to look different, not just in correlation to how much money they want to make, but also in conjunction with their expenses. And I learned this in between like year 3 and 4 of my business. So I'm sure you've seen other boutique owners who maybe sell the same things that you sell or sell the same things as another boutique owner, but they all have different pricing. And in some instances, you may see a online boutique owner that sells something that another boutique owner sells for double the price, triple the price. In your eyes, it's like, wow, like I know how much money they paid for that. How dare they price this product for this amount? But what we don't know in that situation is what their expenses are. So I'm gonna break this down in the most easy way that I can. If I have to, I'll have to like put some numbers up on the screen or something to help this make a little bit more sense. But this is how I had to like study my numbers to be able to understand how my pricing was playing a role in my business. So let's hop into that. Okay, so there is a term or an acronym that I learned as an online boutique owner that has really helped to shape my decisions around pricing. So the term or acronym is AUR, and AUR stands for average unit retail. And I'm going to define that for you. I have the the retail dictionary definition of it, because I want you to hear it in business terms, and then I'll break it down based off of my own understanding and give you some examples. AUR, or average unit retail, is the average selling price of an item. So it's the average amount of money that you collect from selling your products. This number is calculated by dividing the total sales in dollars by the number of items sold, and it's often used to compare sales across different departments or categories. Now, the most important part of that definition is to compare sales across different departments and categories, okay? So going back to the beginning of this video, I mentioned that like you don't want to price everything the same way, because everything is not going to contribute to your sales in the same way. So to give you this example, if you've been following me for some time, you know that my best-selling products is sweatpants. I sell a ton of sweatpants. I've sold thousands of them, but here's the kicker. I sell them for $20. I sell them for $19.90. So to the consumer, it is a great price. And yes, I've sold thousands of them, which means that I've made thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars at this point. However, in comparison to another category or department of my business, I make more money, even while selling a lesser quantity of products. So in using the terminology average unit retail, I want to go back a little bit. I priced that item for $19.90, but your AUR is going to tell you the average unit retail, aka the average amount that you collect from selling that product. So you might be thinking like, well, what's the difference? You price it at $19.90, you collect $19.90. Not true. So this is why. For example, you likely are offering 10, 15, 20% off of your first transaction if you sign up for your email list. Immediate percentage off of that $19.90. Or let's say that you occasionally run a flash sale or an end of month sale or whatever, discount. No longer $19.90. So when I actually looked at the numbers year over year, because again, I've been selling this product for quite some time, and I want to say 2021, my average unit retail price for my sweatpants was about $17.92 or something like that, which basically indicates that I wasn't having to give my customers a discount or a huge discount. Like there was a discount, obviously, but it wasn't huge. I'm okay with that. In 2022, that number dropped to, I believe, like $14 or $15. Now we're pushing it. Why are we pushing it? Well, now I need to consider how much I pay for that product and on average, how much I'm selling it for now, today. So even though this is my best-selling product, if it's no longer selling at the price point that I intend to sell it for, then I might need to make an adjustment in my product selection decisions, because I want to continue to collect a certain dollar amount per sale. I want to be able to continue to maintain a gross profit margin of a certain number. And if that product, although being my best-selling product, is hindering my business by way of gross margin and also profit in dollars, I need to do something about that. On the flip side of that, remembering the definition being that it often compares the numbers across categories or departments. When I look at, for example, my numbers across matching sets, my matching set numbers are pretty consistent across the board. They contribute about the same amount in revenue to my business. However, in profit, matching sets contributes more. So when I think about my inventory selection decisions as well as my pricing decisions, I often have this like back and forth with myself, because I want to go and buy more sweatpants because obviously I sell a ton of them, and it seems like, wow, you sell so many of them, you should have tons of them. However, if I'm thinking about the money side of my business, it makes more sense for me to get matching sets. And yeah, I might run into the instance of not being able to serve as many customers as I want because maybe I'm paying more for the matching sets. However, I'm collecting more from selling the matching sets. I'm making money faster. My margin is bigger. It just makes sense. So a lot of times as online boutique owners, we simply are not thinking about how our pricing not only is going to impact the amount of money that we make, but ultimately like how much money we're actually going to make after we consider the discounts and other expenses. So now we need to talk about the other expenses. And this is where things got really tricky for me in year 3 and more specifically in year 4 of my business, and more so when I started to think like super clearly about my numbers. So let's talk about that, okay? In learning and digging more deeply into this AUR situation, and thinking about the definition and the equation for how to calculate it, you take the total number of items sold divided by the total sales that your business has had, and that's going to tell you your average unit retail. So in your business in itself has an average unit retail cost. And we're going to use my trusty little calculator because y'all know I love my calculator, just to give you like example numbers here, okay? So let's say that your business sells, I don't know, let's say your business sold 10,000 items in the year of 2022, or in whatever year you're watching this video. You sold 10,000 items. However, what we need to know is the average unit retail price of the products that you sold out of all the money that you made. So let's say that your business made $150,000. So we are going to take that number and divide. I am doing this so wrong. You need to do the sales divided by the total number of products sold. So 150,000 divided by 10,000 products sold gives you 15. So that would be your average unit retail. That would mean that on average, regardless of you having a $75 product at one time and a $45 product at one time and a whatever other price product at another time, when we calculate out and average all this out, that's what that equated. You were on average collecting about $15 per item that you sold. Average. However, if we go back to the definition, it says that it's often used to compare across categories and departments. That is the important part, y'all. And just to give you context, let me just tell you. When I go to buy my inventory, there are months where I am buying hundreds of one thing and I'm buying like 27 of another thing. And I know to like the mind that doesn't know any better, that sounds crazy. I literally have had plenty of months where I go and buy 700 pairs of sweatpants and I buy 45 tops. Why? Because the numbers reflected that that's what made the most sense. And this is where that average unit retail and all that good stuff comes into play. So out of that $100,000 or that $150,000 that we made up, that's getting broken out across categories. So let's say that 50,000 came from bottoms, 35,000 came from tops, 20,000 came from dresses, and whatever's left came from jumpsuits. So as you can see already, like those categories didn't equally contribute to your business. Now you need to know how many products you sold within each of those categories. So let's just say the 50,000 that we sold for bottoms. Let's say that you sold, I don't know, let's say that you sold 3,000 pairs of bottoms. That might be a terrible number to choose. We're gonna see. So you're gonna take the $50,000 that you collected for bottoms alone, and you're gonna divide it by the number of bottoms you sold. So 3,000, so 50,000 divided by 3,000 gives us $16.66666667. So we're gonna just round it up to $17. So we're saying that on average you collect about $17 from those 3,000 pairs of pants or bottoms that you sold. Got it. So let's say that you sold $40,000 worth of dresses, and let's say that you sold I don't know, let's say that you sold 5,000 of them. So 40,000 divided by 5,000 is $8. So we went from, on average, collecting $17 for bottoms and $8 for dresses. And again, these are just made up numbers, but I just want you to see, like, okay, yeah, you made more money on paper from selling the dresses, but when we calculate divide by the quantity that you sold, you see, man, I made less money. Like, did that make sense? So now you got to go even backwards and say, okay, well, how much did I pay for those 5,000 dresses that I sold? And let's say that they didn't cost you $8. Let's say you were buying dresses for $10 here, $29 there. Like, it was all over the place, you know? So with that in mind, you have to consider the fact that, yeah, on paper, you made more in revenue, but profit didn't exist in this case. Versus another category of your business, it's making you more in revenue, but also more in profit at the end of the day. And that was the element that I was not taking as much consideration as I should prior to year 3 of my business. So I was so stuck on that number on Shopify that said, oh my God, you made $200,000, $400,000, like, yay me. But money in the bank. You sold all this merchandise, but did you actually make money from that merchandise? No. So let's dig just a little bit deeper, and then we're gonna end this video because I know y'all are probably like, never thought about these things. So the last element of this was my expenses in my business, y'all. So last year, my accountant basically created this little, I don't know, like spreadsheet for me. And it had my sales, it had my cost of goods, which is the amount I paid for the inventory that I sold, or the inventory that I bought. And then underneath it had all of my expenses. So basically it's a profit and loss statement. However, what she added in for me was how much of the amount of money that I was making was being allocated to all of my expenses. So now that I knew my average unit retail for my business as a whole, let's say that it was $18. I'm just choosing a number because I don't remember what the number was off the top of my head. Let's say that I was collecting about $18 per item sold. Every dollar that I make is getting allocated somewhere. There's a percentage or dollar amount that's getting sent to accounting, that's getting sent to contractors, getting sent to employees, getting spent on ads, getting spent on Shopify, getting spent on all the apps on Shopify, so on and so forth. So before you know it, that $18 has dwindled down to -3, child. Like, what? And people wonder why. On Shopify, it says I made all this money, but my bank account does not appear to be on the same page. And people, like, I've heard so many crazy stories. People are like, I think I'm being scammed. I think Shopify is keeping my money. I think that they are not paying it out on time or whatever. No, it all comes back to our pricing decisions, y'all. So literally this is the crazy part. So in 2021, my average unit retail was higher than it was in 2022. But when we calculated all the expenses out and everything, it equaled $1 amount. But then in 2022, I made less in revenue, but I had a better understanding of the dollars in my business. I had a better understanding of, allocating the dollars in my business. And I ended the year with money in my bank. I ended the year with more money in my bank than I started the year with. I ended the year with more money in my bank than I had seen at any end of the year. And I made less money in my business, less revenue in my business. So that was like a huge eye-opener for me, and seeing that it's not just about making sales, y'all. It's not just about you being able to say you sold. And I knew that. It's not about like being able to say you sold out or you made X amount of dollars in a day, because that sounds cool, but did you actually make any money? And by make any money, I mean like, did money land in your bank that you got to keep, that you got to save, that you got to use on something that you wanted to use it for? No. So just to wrap this up and just like close the loop on the whole pricing situation, you're probably like, well, how the heck do I price my products? Well, that is totally up to you. There is no right or wrong way. And anybody that tells you that you have to price your products at least 4 times, 5 times, 3 times, whatever, don't listen to them. Because you have to take into consideration your expenses. There may be one business that made $150,000 in sales, but they spent $140,000 of it. There might be another business that made $50,000 and they spent $30,000 of it. Even though they made less in revenue, they profited $10,000 more than this business that made $150,000. And that's not to say that either business is better or worse than the other. It's just more so a case of their decisions around pricing and their decisions around spending. So when you're thinking about how to price your inventory, the number one thing I want you to think about is the allocation of categories or products through categories. So using my brand as an example, like I mentioned, I sell a lot more bottoms. I collect more money in bottoms. I don't sell a ton of jumpsuits. I don't sell a ton of dresses, and therefore I don't buy jumpsuits and dresses very often, if ever. So you want to make sure, if you're already in business, that you take the time to really dig through your previous sales and actually look for where did money come from. Break it down by category or product type so that you can see out of the total sales, whatever you made in the previous year, how much of it came from each product category. And then you want to go backwards and calculate your average unit retail for each of those categories and determine like which of those, if any, are you proud of? Which of those would you like to see continue to move forward? Which of those would you like to see increase in the new year? So on and so forth. And from there, you can start to think about, okay, let me test, because it's also just a test. Don't listen to what nobody else says. It's a test. Price it at a number that seems scary to you. That's what I had to learn to do. While $40 seemed very comfortable for me, or $40 or less, shall I say, I learned that I had to get out of my own mentality around what affordable meant, and I had to start really thinking like a business owner. I had to start really thinking like a CEO who has expenses, who has bills that need to be paid. So when you're thinking about how many to buy, think about how you're going to price it before you buy it, because that's the only way that you're going to get to potentially envision how this might play out for you as it pertains to not only your revenue, but as well as your profit. So I hope this video was helpful. If you need help with anything, I'll put some links in the description. I'm literally saying anything because, girl, hit me up, okay? I will put some links in the description. There will be a link to the Boutique Academy, which consists of our monthly membership, as well as my program, E-Commerce Elementary. You'll see a link to my $1,000 a day challenge, and you'll also see a link to apply for one-on-one coaching if that interests you as well. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. I love answering you guys' questions, and I am trying my hardest to be super consistent on YouTube this year, so hold me accountable, y'all. Flood the comments, make me respond, honestly. But again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share this with somebody who needs to hear it, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.